Hi everybody, it's Alex and today I'm gonna review for you the new Wilson Clash 100 Pro. Let's go. So today I took out of Tennis Zone this new Clash 100 Pro to see if this racket could be a great fit for you. So whether it's gonna be your first Clash or you were a user of the 98 Pro, which is not available anymore with the V3, let's find out if this racket is good or not. So you may know my relationship with the Wilson Clash. I'm not a big fan of the Wilson Clash, and I will always explain the same thing at every video that I review the Clash. So the reason why I'm not a big fan of the Clash since the version 1 is the fact that yes, this racket is comfortable, that's a great thing, cool, but if you want to play at a higher level, then it's going to be really hard because this racket will have two different feelings. So when you receive a low speed ball, the racket is going to be actually really flexible, but when you're receiving a hard ball, then the rackets start to be a bit stiffer. So especially with those models which are not model for beginner or intermediate player, I don't see the point of it, but let's see if this V3 is good or not. So in order to make my review, I'm gonna start with the specs and then we're gonna go on the court, and finally I'm gonna give my rating. So this is a 100 square inch head size with a 16 by 20 string pattern, and you have an unstrung weight of 305 grams. So what is new with that Wilson Clash? Basically Wilson felt like with the V2 they lost a bit of the DNA of the Wilson Clash, and let me explain why. The first Clash was really like comfortable, but people felt like maybe it could have been better in terms of feel. So Wilson went on the drawing board to try to make a better racket, but they ended up making a racket that felt empty, that makes it feel weird. And overall, yes, you felt a bit more the string, but the comfort was kind of weird, and so basically not a really consistent racket, even though I liked it when I was from the baseline, but for the rest it was pretty much unplayable. So they went back and said, you know, for the V3 let's try to do a mix between the V2 and the V1. So yeah, let's find out. And so this racket is strung with Luxilon Adrenaline at 52 pounds. Let's go on the court. If you're looking to buy some tennis products online, then I have a great news for you. You can use the code ALEXTENNIS to have 10% off your next purchase on Tennis Zone. Thanks to them for making this video possible, and let's go back. On the court with the Wilson Clash Pro V3, the first thing that I felt is how you're not feeling that the racket is empty like it was with the Gen 2. So that's a good thing. So the racket is now a bit more stable. It's not the feel like it was with the V1, but it's a great in between. So I would say if we had to create a racket that is in between the V1 and the V2, the V3 would be the perfect example. So still really comfortable, but you still feel a bit more the ball compared to the V2 version. So you feel a bit more the ball. It's a comfortable racket, but where I feel like this racket lack a bit of something is when you're doing volleys, slice, and all that kind of shot. You feel like the shot is too much absorbed, and so you don't feel your slice, you don't feel the string, so it's really tough to make a drop shot or to make any kind of shot that requires a lot of precision. But if you're just grinding from the baseline, hitting big forehand, big backhand, big serve, then it's okay. I mean, the feel is definitely better compared to the V2 because, like I said, the racket doesn't feel that empty. You feel like it's a bit more stable, but still really playable. Obviously, no pain at all when I was playing with this racket, even with no dampener. So definitely the Clash remains a comfortable racket with just a bit more feel, and overall, you know, it's a racket that is pretty easy to play with, which is definitely a good thing. So what I thought of this new Wilson Clash V3 is actually a good thing. I'm kind of surprised. It's actually a good racket, a fun racket to rally from the baseline, that's for sure. Nothing that really makes me think like, oh, I need to buy this racket. Not at all, but it's still a bit better. You know, it's due to the fact that you feel a bit more the ball. You feel like the racket is definitely more stable, and so overall the experience is much more enjoyable compared to the V2. You don't feel your racket moving in the air like it was used to be. So yeah, definitely a good thing. Obviously, where it's not that great is still at the slice and touch shot, because you don't feel the ball entering the string bed. But if you're just rallying from the baseline, doing big serve and all that stuff, then it's gonna be perfect. So let's go with the rating. In terms of control, it's not a stands out, but it's not that bad actually. It's pretty easy to control, to feel the ball due to the stability, like I said, and with the comfort, it's much more enjoyable, obviously. So I'll have to go with 8 out of 10. In terms of power, this is definitely a powerful racket, easy to generate some pace, so I'll have to go with 9 out of 10. In terms of feel, that's where it's a bit personal. Personally, it's too muted for me, so I'll have to go with 6 out of 10. And in terms of spin, it's not, you know, something that people talk about, but the Clash is pretty good in terms of spin, so I'll have to go with 7.5 out of 10. So there you have the overall rating. Finally, I would recommend this racket to people that want to play at a high level but want a comfortable racket because they have some harm issue. That's definitely a great racket for you. So again, thanks to Tennis for letting me borrow this racket. Without them, it would not have been possible. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye.